let's see. It said Ric Flair had a last match, just because he wanted to win a match. Sorry. Here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside Out. I'm reading things that people were saying about why Ric Flair had his last match. Because he wanted to win. Was one of the things, because he wanted to win. One last match. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside Out. I'm Brett West, along with Jack Lord and Rodney West. We'll be talking about Ric Flair. People have lost their forever loving minds over the last match of Ric Flair and SummerSlam, for that instance. Jack, I didn't watch it. I did see some video on it. But let us know what happened. Ric Flair's last match. How the whole show went.
Honestly, the entire show was pretty good. They had a lot of Impact talent there, a lot of independent wrestlers. But they put on some great matches. By today's standards, they did try to capture the feeling of back in the WCW days, the early WCW days, Crockett period, and I thought they did that very well. And even though I can now honestly tell you, I can go the rest of my life and never again hear David Crockett, it was still a nice bit of nostalgia to see and hear him and Tony on the mic the other night.
Sorry, I was.
Watch it, Brent. Watch it.
I'll ask you this. One of the things people were talking about on this show was that the crowd wasn't sold out. I think is what they were trying to say. But let's put a little perspective in this. In that the event was never meant to be held at the auditorium in Nashville. Correct?
The first arena they were going to be in was the fairgrounds, which seats 3,500 maybe, somewhere around in there. The Nashville Municipal Auditorium seats around 10,000, close to it anyway. They may not have sold it out, but they came awfully darn close. I know that they had their cheap seats drastically reduced. I talked to a couple of buddies that last minute went because they were able to get tickets for $15 a piece, up in the top sections. But in that facility there's really no bad seats. You've got a clear line of sight to everything in that ring. And I have heard nobody that went that complained. And, that honestly, if you want to rank it as far as the caliber of Ric Flair matches, I mean, it probably was the worst he ever had. But the worst Ric Flair ever had is still better than just about everybody else. So, that's to be taken into consideration. And you also, I pointed this out and made somebody mad about it.
Oh,
but Ric Flair sold every ticket. Ric Flair sold every pay-per-view. Nobody on that card, as good as they were, didn't sell those tickets. That was all Ric Flair. People wanted to see him. And he went out there and he gave it his best effort. For a 73-year-old man to get in the ring and do the things he did, I thought he did great. He really did. But I also want to hand out that Jeff Jarrett, I'm telling you, if there's an MVP of professional wrestling awards given out this year, Jeff Jarrett deserves it.
People said that Ric Flair, what he accomplished in the match was not good. What did people expect Ric Flair at 74 years old? What did they expect that he was going to do? By the way, Jeff Dobbs sent us 200 stars. Thank you so much. We certainly do appreciate the stars. It helps us be able to upgrade our deal. But did you see that the match, Jack? Did you see the Ric Flair match? Did you see it and think to yourself, "Oh man, Ric Flair is just horrible"?
No. I mean, I went into this knowing, that a 73-year-old Ric Flair is not going to be a 40-year-old Ric Flair. And up till the day he, had that match with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania that year, that was still the best wrestler in the business at that time. We had our top 100 list here not too long ago, and Ric Flair didn't place in my top 10. He was number 11. But when you talk about the current crop of people, Ric Flair is head and shoulders above everybody that's been in the ring in the last 20 years, easily. Still.
Someone got upset, and they said a lot of people did that Ric Flair's ability in the ring was not believable. But if they would listen to our podcast, we never said that Ric Flair since 1990 was believable. He wasn't. He did a lot of things to expose the business. The over-the-top rope, flip over, run down the aisle, get slammed. Pretty bad for the wrestling business. We've said that he was a wrestler that did the same thing over and over again. And that's really when it started in 1990 when Ted Turner bought World Championship Wrestling. But the ideal of people, and I'm going to ask you this, Rodney, the ideal of people to believe that Ric Flair, who has won on record, said he was a world champion that never won a match because he very rarely ever won a match.
That's true.
That he wanted to have one last match so he could win. That is ridiculous. Rodney, your thoughts on that?
Well, I give my hats off to him just for getting in the ring. But he also showed that he was the draw, that he can still put some bets in the seats. That's the main thing. Now, Jack, I have to ask a few questions.
Yeah.
Did Rick throw any chops in this match?
He did.
Check mark. Did he do any woos during the match?
Not as many as I expected, but yeah, he did.
There was some woos in the match. Aha. Did he do the figure 4 leg lock in this match?
Yes, he did.
He did do the figure 4 leg lock in the match. Okay, we have a Ric Flair match. I don't know what people's complaining about. You got to see everything you want to see. You got to see him a chop, figure 4, and he did the woo. What else do you want?
And let me tell you, when Ric Flair got in that ring, everybody else was able to go 100 miles an hour in that match. Rick was about 25 miles an hour. But that's okay, because when he stepped foot in that ring, those people lost their mind. They were getting to see, they knew for the last time, Ric Flair in the ring.
And my question is this: why wouldn't you bring the match to his level?
Exactly.
All right. That's not Flair's fault. That's whoever put the match together. That's their fault. They should have said, okay, this should feature Rick, and let's save the other crap. You can do that in your own match somewhere else.
When Andrade first tagged in, he and Jay Lethal cranked it up. They went, and that's exactly what I was thinking is, guys, you're making Rick look bad by doing this. The heat's not on Rick for that. And I think that they started realizing that, because what they were doing wasn't getting over as well as what Rick was doing just by coming in and just tagging in.
And that
they slowed it down. And then when Jeff Jarrett came in, and I'm telling you, there are few heels in the business that understand how to be a heel the way he did. He had people trying to crawl over the barricade before the match ever started.
Beautiful.
It was insane at the heat that he had. And he didn't have to do anything because people already hated him, so he knew he didn't have to do much.
Well, did he and Flair do a strut off?
Yes, they did.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. What else do you need, people? What else do you need?
Telling you,
but it goes back to what we were saying. We've been saying, you don't have to do all that crap if you're over. You simply don't have to do it.
Exactly.
In fact, it really doesn't mean anything. But all that high flying crap means nothing if you're not over.
I think that we also got a little bit of criticism from some folks. We won't say who they are.
What?
A couple of folks about we saying, oh, we put over Ric Flair, but he's Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, 1970 72, I believe, maybe 73. He started in the wrestling business. Over 50 years in the wrestling business. And those folks who say, well, Ric Flair didn't have a good match, well, good. Do you do me as a favor? You send that match into Pro Wrestling Inside and Out, and then we'll critique your match, and we'll say whether or not what you're doing is good. And you can do that. Pro Wrestling Inside and Out at gmail.com, and we'll let people critique your match that you never ever had, and you never will have what Ric Flair ever did in the wrestling business.
Well,
was he believable? No, but he wasn't believable in 1990 either. So,
Rick wanted this match for himself, of course. I mean, there were certainly some selfish reasons for wanting to do it. All of us feel that way. If I were physically able, I'd want to have one last match. I'm not, so that's never going to happen. But Rick was able to do that. That scratched that itch that he had, because when he had that retirement match, that was something that Vince McMahon put on him. He didn't want to do it. He was not ready to retire, but Vince told him, hey, we got to start. You're starting to look older. I don't care that you can still go. I care that you're looking older. So, he was pushed into that. That's why he came back, did what he did with TNA, which I don't know that it tarnished his image, even though it's been said. I think he was just doing what he always done, wrestle. So, but I think more than anything, this was Rick's way of telling the fans in a match where he controlled everything, of letting them know how much he loved them.
And goodbye, basically, inside the ring. And now you'll get to enjoy wings available in many different locations throughout the world. You got to give Ric Flair the one thing. He was a very entertaining person. I had the ability to sell tickets, and still today, at 73 years old, he can sell more tickets than most of the current roster in pro wrestling today, or whatever it is, whatever we're in. Jack, any last comments on Ric Flair, and then we'll get to the insiders, because they've got some stuff to say about it.
No, that's I think we pretty well covered.
Do you know how many people bought the pay-per-view? Do we know that?
No, we don't have those numbers yet. Now, when we go over a few folks here, we'll get back and we'll discuss SummerSlam, because I've got a lot of information about that.
That's another thing people lost their minds about. SummerSlam was a flop. What? Where did these people pick this up at? I have no clue.
The largest watched SummerSlam of all time.
I have no clue. Rodney, anything you want to say about Ric Flair, the Nature Boy?
Well, thank you, Rick. And one last woo for the road. There we go.
And now you have the opportunity to get you some woo wings available in many different places. Go to Nature Boy Ric Flair Facebook page, and it'll tell you exactly where you can get those woo wings. Rick Brooks, thank you so much. I want to thank him, because he's been a 15th-month subscriber to our page, and we certainly do appreciate you very much on doing that. Okay, let's go and see what the insiders got to say, and then we'll talk about SummerSlam and what kind of craziness is happening with that as well.
The amount. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute.
Richard Hood, good evening, gentlemen. How you doing? Kurt is another one of our subscribers. Hey, what's up, guys? For those of you who are subscribers, coming soon, we're going to do a subscriber only. It'll only be for the subscribers, and we'll go back and look at the territories of wrestling. We'll start with Georgia Championship Wrestling, and we'll talk about Continental Southeastern, and we'll talk about the actual really deep behind the scenes stuff that we wouldn't talk about on here. Jack's got some stories. Rodney's got stories. I've got stories, but you will have to be a subscriber to do so, because we figure those folks that we're going to talk about, they're not going to pay the $2.99 a month to actually want to hear what we say. So be prepared. We've not discussed it yet when we're going to start this, but it is going to be soon.
And it goes back to that old adage: if you want to be remembered well, be a better person.
There you go. And that's coming up. So if you've not subscribed to our channel, it's $2.99 a month. You can go to Facebook, and I think it says subscriber on it now. Go ahead and get over there. because I think you'll like it. Me and Rodney's going to tell some Georgia Championship Wrestling stories that has probably never been told before. Our father, Ron West, worked there for 11 years and was in the office to the majority of the 11 years. And he was the second right-hand man to Jim Barnett, even though he doesn't get any stuff. But there's a lot of things we're going to talk about. Coal miners' glove matches. If you saw them in Georgia Championship Wrestling, that was not Ole Anderson. That was Ronnie West, because Ole Anderson would have had a coal miners' glove match and would not have had a tar and feather match. So if you went and watched that, that was a Ronnie West thing.
I saw Austin Idol and Kevin Sullivan have one of those in Columbus, Georgia.
And I guarantee you, it wasn't Ole. That would have been Ronnie West booking at the time. All right, Kurt. We've said hello to Kurt. What's up, guys? Jason Mundy is with us as well. Wendy Harkins, how you doing, Wendy? Wendy was there a lot for the Continental Championship Wrestling and Southeastern Championship Wrestling times. James William Lawrence III, hello, gentlemen. Michael is with us as well. Glenn Allen Shelton. David Bice. I hadn't heard of him going into any wrestling shows lately, but maybe I've missed that. Good evening, guys. Have a great show. James William Lawrence III said people are mad because they saw a 72-year-old man wrestle. Most 72-year-old men can barely walk, much less climb in between.
Dude, I'm 63, and you'd have to get Brock Lesnar's front end loader to get me in a ring now.
Mako, what's causing all this? Mickey Mayfield said, "Howdy, insiders! Congrats to Flair for putting on a show. Hope this was it for him. You always win leave them wanting more. Yeah, they're gonna want more. They want them wings." Andy McDaniel is with us. Andy, how are you doing? Have a great evening, guys. He has a book as well. I believe it is on sale at Amazon as well. Rodney, the name of the book again?
It is Reunion at County Hall. The Night of Wrestling Legends returns to Charleston. Fabulous. Fabulous. Absolutely.
Our father, Ronnie West, was part of that event. So, get over there and get that book available on Amazon. Michael Barr is with us. How you doing, Michael? I hope you are doing well after your knee surgery. Warren Shortus. Hello from Wisconsin. How you doing? Glenn Allen Shelton, friend, went to both. Bishop Michael B. Nisby. Rick put on a marvelous show. Another person who understands what the purpose of that was. Darius Satterfield from Columbus, Ohio. Great wrestling town. Our father always liked Columbus, Ohio. It was still better than most WWE. From Randy Christ. Glenn Allen Shelton, hello from Tennessee. Always like this name. Weed and wrestling. I wish Flair would have retired a little closer to the end of his prime. All of those parents over the years have watered down his legacy, unfortunately. But, really has it, though. I mean, when you think about it, has it? Because look at what he was able to accomplish by just Ric Flair's name. I mean, I don't know. And we're Grant and Rodney are not big Ric Flair fans, basically.
I think the plane ride from hell story tarnished his legacy more than anything he ever tried to do in the ring in the last 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, and Rodney can say we're not big Ric Flair fans because we seen him do the same thing over and over and over again. And actually, I actually told him one time. I said, not all of us are going to go flip over the rope and run down the aisle, every time. I said, why are you going to be bad at Vince McMahon when you expose the business worse than he does? At least he ain't out there doing the same moves every night. Ric Flair will always be one of the greats. He will go down as one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, regardless if we believe it or not. The wrestling fans and they believe it. Flair seemed to have trouble taking the gold belt off. Did he have trouble taking the?
Well, he just had trouble. He had his robe on, and he was trying to reach through to get in behind the robe and unclip the belt, to take it off to be able to hold it up. So yeah, I noticed that too, though.
But is that a rotary cuff problem when you can't do that?
Could be.
Because man, all the beatings he's took throughout the years. Charles Cooper, thank you so much for the 50 stars. We certainly do appreciate it. Wendy Harkins, Flair had help from his son-in-law, Megan's husband. Is that
Conrad? Yeah, he threw Rick. Well, actually, he threw him to Andrade some brass knucks, and then Andrade turned around and gave him to Rick, and Rick nailed Jarrett with him, and then put him in the figure four to beat him.
I'm going ahead and jump down to one of our subscribers. Rick Brooks said the girls fighting in the front row was entertaining. What happened? Where did this happen?
I must have missed that.
He might have been there live.
Yeah, you might have been there live. The fight, Bishop Michael Nesby said that despite Rick's age, he did well. He still knows how to work an angle and audience.
Yeah,
and
that audience was in the palm of his hand, exactly where they should have been.
Charles said, "Who did he wrestle?" Jack, I'll let you answer that.
He teamed with his son-in-law Andrade El Idolo, and which is Charlotte's husband, and they took on Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal.
Here you go. Jamie Combs, pretty sure Rick went in there hurt. Plantar, what's that say?
Plantar fasciitis, or maybe something like that. They didn't help his performance. That's issues with your feet. And yeah, I mean, it definitely could have played a role. I think that his blood pressure may have gotten a bit high too, because he had said to Andrade after the match that he just kind of blanked out in there. I blank out when I stand up too fast. So
I'm gonna be honest with you. If I walk really briskly somewhere and I'm only 51, I get winded. So at 70 something, I don't know that I could even do what he did. Rick Brooks, I thought the main event was sad. Example of someone that can't let the past go. If he's in the GOAT, he left a bad visual for our memory banks. But did he really, though, Rick? I mean, and this is the thing. I understand people say, "Well, Rick," but this was his way of saying goodbye.
There's two ways of looking at this. If you want to look at it on a performance standard, out of 1 to 10 scale, you might have got a 2 or 3. But for the nostalgia, for the want to see him in the ring one last time, it was a 10.
Yeah, because I think that was the whole
yeah
purpose of it. Not that he was going to have a great match, that you were going to be able to get to see him walk down that aisle one time, looking only how he can look.
My 12-year-old daughter, my youngest daughter, has become quite a wrestling fan and historian in her own right over the last year or two. I explained to her before the match, I said, you're not going to see the stuff you're used to seeing. It's going to be a lot slower paced, and don't expect, because she's watched Ric Flair matches with me. And I said, don't expect to see that level. And when it was over, she said, it wasn't the greatest match, but I sure am glad I got to see it.
Yeah. It's like, I went and watched George Jones, one of his last concerts before he passed away. And he wasn't the George Jones that I had seen 15 years earlier.
No.
But he didn't really sing the whole thing. He brought somebody else out and he sat back and let somebody else sing. But you know what? I went and saw him because I knew he was in bad health. I'd heard he was in bad health, and I'm glad that I went and done.
Same with me with Merle Haggard. His son wound up doing half the concert, because Merle just wasn't up to it. But that was okay. If I had just gotten to see him walk on stage, I got my money's worth. He didn't have to pick up a guitar. He didn't have to sing a note. Willie Nelson's out there. He's in his 80s. he doesn't sing the way he used to, but you go for the experience. And that's what Ric Flair delivered the other night. He gave them the experience. He may not have given them the quality match that they all remembered, but he still gave them the full Ric Flair experience.
And I guess if all of us could do that, we would do it. You know, that's the reason Jerry Lawler still goes out there and does what he does. Once wrestling gets in your ear, Rodney, what's your thoughts on that?
You know, an example of someone that can't let the past go. That I really can't get over myself. A little insulting. We embrace our past here on this channel, especially. And I do not hold anything against him wanting to do that one more time. And it proved that he can. The main purpose of professional wrestling is what? To draw a house. And that's exactly what he did. That's all you. You can put a period at the end of that sentence.
Richard Hood, did he flip over the top rope? I doubt that.
No, he did not. But Jarrett did. Jarrett did the spot, and when he come off the top rope from doing the flip and running down, come off, Rick caught him. Beautiful. So it was a beautiful homage to
Yes.
Rick doing that.
Beautiful.
It's paying tribute to someone, and that was a night of paying tribute. Undertaker was there. Mick Foley was there. Bret Hart was there.
Kid Rock was there. There were a ton of people there that they, never even got around to mentioning, that just wanted. Rey Mysterio and his son were there. Anybody that was under WWE active contract were not able, including his daughter Charlotte. But I've seen pictures released since then, but they couldn't appear on air, and I get that. But there was a lot of people that showed up to show honor to him.
Yeah, I know Tom Pritchard, I believe, went as well.
Yes. He actually worked as an agent for the show. Wolfie D also.
So I think people are kind of thinking that his match had to be a 4-star or whatever the stars Dave Mezer has told people about, but it didn't have to be.
No.
It just didn't have to be. Bob Armstrong, at the end of his career, he did not have to have those matches. He was over so well that just walking to the ring, he was over. Out of respect, people respected him because I'm thinking people paid $1,500 a seat there, didn't they?
That was front row.
Okay.
I think it was $1,000 a seat initially. I think that got you into the StarCast, for other events there. So I'm not sure what it come down to. I know that they're already planning the next one. So if you lose money, you're not going to plan the next one.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I'd always say, okay, I don't think we're going to do that no more. I think we'll just do that after not losing no money.
We are the kings of moving on.
Yes, we are. Once pro wrestling is a part of your life, when it started, it's always in your blood. Yes.
If you do a spot and it don't get over, do you do it again the next night? No. Don't ever do that again.
I'm glad it's opening two
Woo chicken wings places in Huntsville and Tuscaloosa. Yeah.
Ric Flair is better than Hogan. Yeah. By far he's better. Hogan probably is more recognizable than Flair, but Flair was still entertaining. From Randy Christ, Kevin Penley. Hello from around Birmingham, Alabama.
All right.
Glenn Allen Shelton. How old was Gypsy Joe when he hangs a bit? I believe when he passed away, wasn't he? Whatever.
Well, he had a leg removed about maybe 2 years before he passed, but he wrestled right up till he had to have that done. And I saw him at one of our reunions, after that surgery in a wheelchair, and I still wouldn't have messed with him.
He was a
He was.
Oh, God.
Great human being.
There will never be another Ric Flair. Woo! There is truth in that. There will never be another Ric Flair. I didn't have a problem with Rick's run in TNA one bit.
No, I didn't either.
No, I thought one of the best things I ever seen was Jay Lethal being Ric Flair.
Tremendous.
That was the most entertaining thing I had seen in wrestling in a long time. Jay Lethal's tremendous. I don't understand why someone doesn't push him, WWE or something doesn't take him.
Well, he's in AEW, so.
Oh my goodness. Victor Nash, thank you so much for the 200 stars. Victor Nash, also a subscriber of our channel. And we certainly do appreciate you, Victor. Kevin Penley, I was against the Flair match until I saw how happy he was. Glad it went. I don't know. A man that is 70-something years old that doesn't mind getting out there crying because he loved the business so much. I think most people don't love their jobs. So when they leave, they could care less if they ever see it again. I left the printing business, and I did not cry when I left, and I would never cry to want to go back. Okay, that's just there's no way that I'd want to do that. I'm not saying I won't have to go back, and I will cry if I have to go back, but it'll be a completely different reason why I'm crying. It won't be because I love it and I'm back from that. Mickey Mayfield, I'll go ahead and say my number. Is it number 17 or number 16 that we're on?
We are on number 16.
Well, number 17 was Ted DiBiase and Steve Dr. Death Williams. My number 16, this person will probably be, when I say probably, I want to be like Rodney and said they may or may not be on it. Will be on my list, but be on it twice. Number 16, Ole Anderson and the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff. Rodney?
Yeah, you had a great tag team right there, Ole and Ivan. I mean, they drew a lot of money, not only in Georgia, but they went to the Carolinas and they did it again. So just tremendous, and what some great matches, and will always be tied to the parking lot incident with Dusty Rhodes in Atlanta. Honestly, and am I doing mine next? My number 16 is Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood.
Oh. Tremendous team. Victor, thank you so much. Victor, send us 50 more stars. Thank you so much, Victor. All right, Jack.
I think Rodney stole my list because my number 16 is Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood.
Boy, Victor just keeps on sending us the stars. He sent us another 50 stars. Thank you so much. Hey, all that money goes to us upgrading this. We got some things with it because it costs money. And none of us are making any. So that's good. All right, where was we at, Rick? Something I was going to say, but I'll get it back here. All right, Weed and Wrestling. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. So seeing something is the largest watch event all time in an era of growing population. I never understood that point. What's he trying to say? I'm not for sure what he's trying to say there.
We were talking about a SummerSlam at that point, and that's when he was talking about this. I have this idea that somehow I do not see the WWE in decline. I absolutely do not see it. I think a lot of people have some wishful thinking, but I do not see that there is a decline in that product at all. I think their fan base is there. They're locked in. I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon, and they continue, I think, to innovate. They most certainly are. And because they are, all of their innovations, they are the most copied organization that's ever been. I've never seen anything like it.
Let me touch on a few things while this subject has been question was brought up. When we're talking about numbers, and I made this observation today accidentally. As a matter of fact, I was looking up Raw ratings, which didn't come out till right before we come on the air, but I did get them. Raw ratings last night was 2.3 million. Second highest rating that they've had this year. Now, 10 years ago, their rating was 4 million. So they've lost half of that rating. But here is a thing that Stephanie McMahon put out today. talking about SummerSlam attendance, 48,449. They had originally expected to sell 30,000 tickets, and they were going to shut off half of the arena in order to do that. They knew that they couldn't sell 60,000, but they come close to almost getting 50,000. Now,
Wow.
when people want to talk, well, that's not the real numbers. Well, they include everybody in that building. If you work security, if you're a ticket taker, if you're selling sodas at the concession stand, you are counted. Now, I'm not going to argue that maybe that shouldn't be done, but at the end of the day, there was 48,449 people in that facility because WWE was in town. Now, she also said today 90 million YouTube subscribers, 70 billion video views, 18 million followers just on TikTok. And they haven't been on TikTok very long. Now, is a 4 million rating for Raw as important as 90 million YouTube subscribers? I don't think it is.
No.
I think that audience, as the population has grown, the fan base has grown, but they've grown in a different way. They don't watch Raw when it comes on. They watch the video clips. They see the stuff on YouTube. They watch it on TikTok. They watch it on all the social media stuff. They may not sit for 3 hours on Monday night, but they're watching, and they're getting counted, just not getting counted for cable TV purposes.
Yeah. I think it's somewhere around the $32 million that they make off the YouTube channel. And that's probably more now. That was 2 years ago. It's probably in the $70 million range now.
Well,
so,
while I'm talking about ratings, let me just go ahead and throw those all out. SmackDown Friday night did 2.193 million. NXT did 600,000. Dynamite drew 976,000. They're still not over that million mark again. Only crossed it 3 times, I think.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Tony Khan's trying to get his greatest acquisition that has ever been. Right now, he wants to be the day that he can allow to walk down his aisle and get in his ring, Vince McMahon. He is looking forward to that moment. He can't wait. He's camping out at Vince's house saying, Vince, come work for me. Come on.
Real quick, Rampage the week before drew 425,000. Last Friday they drew a record low of 375,000.
Wow. Tony Khan is not helping himself. I really believe if Tony wants to help himself, he is going to have to take himself off of television, take him off of the media. He doesn't need to do it. Rick Brooks said, "Looks like I'm a heel tonight." No,
Rick.
No. Listen. We understand what you're saying. We don't disagree that Ric Flair should have not been in the ring for years. All right, we all agree with that. I don't think any of us here would say that Ric Flair should have been in the wrestling ring. We even said from the beginning, "Oh, he shouldn't do it," but he did it so he could have one last chance. Now, does that mean he might not come back at 82 years old and have another match? He might. There's a possibility he will. Terry Funk retired 22 times. He had 22 different matches in retirement.
That's a conservative number.
But as long as he could do it, he was going to do it. And I applaud Flair in that. I am not a Ric Flair fan. Never have been a Ric Flair fan. But you cannot argue that Ric Flair was a huge star in pro wrestling. Nobody can argue that fact. And we understand what people are saying when they say his match was not any good. We understand that. But what did you think he was going to have? I mean, we knew from the beginning he wasn't going to have it, because if you go back and watch when he trained with Jay Lethal, they speeded up the whole match so it looked like he was faster than he was. But he's 70-something years old. and had health problems on top of being 70-something years old. So he wasn't like Lou Thez was. I don't think Lou was even. I don't think he ever been sick until he ended up passing away. So.
And that is a pretty bad sickness once that happens.
Yeah, death usually is a pretty bad. Oh man.
Send all your hate mail to Rodney.
It was so bad.
Oh, all right. Number 17, Doom, Ron Simmons and Butch Reed. Todd Vanderpool said nice subscriber ideal. Yes, I think people will enjoy it. I think you will enjoy it because we're nowhere near would talk about the stuff that we're going to talk about on there. Because once it's there, it won't be on for everybody to see. It'll only be on for subscribers to see. So you'll have to subscribe if you want to hear our stories from behind the scenes. Oh, the Chic book was okay. Just more about those helped from Kevin Penley. We still got to get to all those books that we need to go over.
Yeah, I almost ordered that last night. I wound up getting the book on the Goldust Trio instead because it was a whole lot cheaper. But I do have that mark to get.
I've got to get in touch with them. They got back with us a long time ago, and we just never got back. But we were going to have to talk about that book because they've asked us to do that. ECW Press, I believe, is the name of the place that put that out. How many old school wrestlers at his age are still out there that can still draw a crowd like Ric Flair? Rodney?
Not well. I mean, I guess if Hulk Hogan wanted to do it, he could put some people in the seats. Very few, absolutely very few, that can do that.
Jack?
I can't think of anybody that would draw at that age. Maybe when he gets that age, the Undertaker could. But that list, that's a very, very short list.
Yeah, especially these days and times. There's not a lot of big stars left. Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan and The Rock. I don't think John Cena was ever the star of The Rock, or Steve Austin even was. So I think once
and that's not taking anything away from John Cena. It was just the focus of the company went away from building singular stars to making the whole company celebrities.
Yeah. Let's see. Weed and wrestling saying I'm not for sure. Andy McDaniel said, appreciate your dad. Thank you so much, Andy. We certainly do appreciate it. One thing about it, if he was still alive and they called him and they asked him to referee, and he would be right now, would he be 70? Be in his 70s as well?
70. Yeah, he would have been about the same age as Rick, really. He would have done it.
He would have jumped in that ring and been a referee.
He would have done it. They might have had to have two of them, but he would have been out there to do the count out for sure.
Yeah, he would have done it. That's how much they love the wrestling business. Yeah. I don't think people understand that love for the wrestling business once you're in it. It never leaves, no matter how much you want.
It's different from today's wrestlers, though.
Yeah,
it is much. It's not the same at all. They dedicate, and I'm not saying they're not completely dedicated. They're dedicated to today's product, but once they're out of it, it seems like they have no interest of coming back.
But back then, you did. No matter what. You really
and I have always said that if you're able to walk away from the wrestling business, then by all means you need to, because you didn't belong in the first place.
Well, it's in lots of cases, if you don't walk away, you may not be able to after you get finished taking them bumps. You might be in a
Charles Cooper, good evening, guys. Michael, I've got a feeling they're going to put Cody over at WrestleMania next year and dethrone Roman. What do y'all think?
Possible. You're still hearing those rumors up till when Vince stepped away about The Rock coming back to face him at WrestleMania. So I don't know. I don't know what'll happen. I think Cody at some point, whether it's WrestleMania or not, I believe next year at some point Cody will become the champion.
All right, Mark Poff Hello, guys. Hello, Mark. I don't know that you've ever been with us before. Thank you so much,
Welcome.
and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside Now. Jimmy Valiant looked very, very good. I saw a clip of him. Man, I'd be honest with you, he looked no different than he did. Now, Bob Armstrong always used to tell us
That's right.
that he never
Clear.
looked good to begin with. That's the reason he still looks good today. He would always tell us.
That's right.
I went to several shows as a fan when I was stationed at Fort Stewart, Georgia, right outside of Savannah, specifically because it was their B card and Jimmy Valiant was the headline. And man, he was worth every dime. He was so entertaining.
He still looks good. I believe he might be 93. I think he is in his 70s, isn't he?
Who's that?
Tony Schiavone.
No, he's not. He's not as old as I am.
Is he in his 60s?
He probably late 50s.
Look that up, somebody, and tell us how old Tony Schiavone is. I'd be interested in knowing how old Tony Schiavone is because he still looks pretty good. Hello, guys. Long time Jack from Paul Hatchet. And he'll bury the hatchet if let's see. Brenton Rodney, your dad was a great referee, one of the best. Thank you so much, Michael. We certainly do appreciate it. It's cool your father has that wrestling legacy, gentlemen. Thank you so much, Whedon Wrestling. And we're going to tell a little bit about that. Some things that that he went through with Louis Tilley and several other people throughout his career. We just want to talk about it here. So get me back in the ring. Michael Barr said he'd do it. He'd jump right back in there.
Like Austin Idol's got a training school, Michael.
Hey, he can show you how to take the check after the Battle Royal and take it and cash it. So people got mad.
He'll teach you all kinds of wonderful things. He'll teach you how to work the first 10 minutes of match of, hide the foreign object. We will also do another 10 or 12 minutes if he pulled my hair. We will also do another exactly 7 or 8 of just walking around the ring. So it would be very entertaining.
Yeah, I had that conversation with Austin one time in Dothan, Alabama. We'll get into that conversation I had with him as well. People get mad just because Flair can still go better than most of the indies. Paul Hatchet.
That is correct. And they're wanting to see Flair. I don't understand why in the world that people still like him. He didn't do anything. Boy, you should see me. I'm all over the ring. I'm flying up. I'm hitting the top of the ceilings in some of these places because the ceiling's so low you can't help to do it. When you come off the top rope, you take out half the lights. I don't get it. Let me jump off the top of a Coke machine right there, turn it over and spill drinks, throw it all over the place. Stupid. People, they just don't get it. They just, you got to be over, people. Yeah. If you do not build that connection between you and the fans, you are wasting your time.
I watched a match between Wendell Cooley and Nick Bockwinkel where he actually used an arm bar during the whole match and had them people standing the last 10 minutes of that match because he knew what he was doing.
Right. Right. And that you can't take away the brilliance of Wendell Cooley able to sell that through that. It was a group effort. It was a combined effort, and it paid off. And really, as far as Knoxville goes, people did not know Nick Bockwinkel. No, not the way they did in some other places. And Lawler's around there. Yeah, he made that connection. I mean, there's no doubt when you talk about wrestling in Memphis, I mean, Jerry Lawler's name will come up for sure.
Yeah. All right, Jeff. Again, thank you for the stars. Jeff Jarrett and Ric Flair's final match, and then refereed and SummerSlam tag team title match. What a month! Free wings for life.
Now, is this a restaurant? Is this a restaurant he's doing, or is it just where you just buy them?
I'm not for sure, really.
Like in restaurants.
I'll have to look that up. I saw Conrad advertising it on his Twitter earlier.
Too bad it couldn't be Bill Dundee, the superstar.
Yeah.
Another great wrestler.
Another person that really, because he made that connection, no matter where he went, he made a connection with the fans. And when you make that connection, you're able to get yourself over. You really don't have to do much. Case in point, just watch Jackie Fargo. There you go. And you won't have to worry about it. There's not much there.
I love Bill. I'll never forget the last words he said to me in our match together when he looked up from the ring and said, "Do I owe you money?"
Daniel Wayne.
Getting a little tight.
Number 17 from New York City. Oh, yeah, baby, have mercy. The WWF World Tag Team Champions with Handsome Jimmy and Captain Lou at ringside. It's Gentleman Jerry and Luscious Johnny, the Valiant Brothers.
The Valiant Brothers are awesome. They're really, really good.
I thought you had your knee surgery, Michael, but you're just in therapy right now. Okay. Mako is the man. Michael Barr, also one of our subscribers. Has been, I think, from the beginning. I'm pretty sure he's been a subscriber from the beginning.
Yeah.
And we certainly do appreciate it, Michael. We certainly do appreciate it. Dwight DeBordy. The 70s and 80s will always be the best wrestling in history, and Rick and the Horsemen will always be the best. Some great stuff. David Bias got 3 shows this week: Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the Red Bank Saudi Daisy High School.
Wow.
So if you're in that area, I think that's TWE or something in Red Bank at some arena there. And then the Saudi Daisy High School, I think that's one of our good friends that runs that. We already talked about Rick Brooks. Michael Barr. Look at how many old school wrestling promotions that Ric Flair helped make names for themselves. Well, yeah, you have to agree. And he made sure they look like stars. That was his job, to make them look like stars. Kevin Penley. I have a lot of respect now for Jay Lethal for helping him through that match. Victor Nash is with us. He said, "Hello, everybody. The great one has arrived." Victor Nash.
You hold the door open for him, Victor.
The Rock came out that he's worth $800 million.
Wow.
That's what The Rock is worth. Wendy Archer, I feel like this was a way better way for Flair to retire than the way Vince had him to. What do y'all think?
I enjoyed it. Just for the reasons Rick had of doing it. As far as caliber of matches, though, that Shawn Michaels match was probably one of the best quality matches he ever had.
Michael Barr asked the question, how many other wrestlers have retired and come back and wrestled afterwards? I think almost everybody. But we may have to come up with it. I know Terry Funk did. I don't know. Didn't Mick Foley come back after he retired? So I think they all have. Give the opportunity for him to get back in the ring. They're going to do it. He got out on his terms, and yes, I agree with that. He did get out on his own terms, and that's what he wanted to do. Right, Brett? Just like George Jones, anyone that is older cannot be as they were in their prime. But I seen Charlie Daniels before, maybe a year before he passed away, and he couldn't do the whole thing either. He would sing for a while, and then they would play some music, and he'd sit down and drink. He'd come back, sing again. They'd play a little bit more. He'd get up, but it was still great at the Silver Star Hotel Casino in Philadelphia, Mississippi. I still think about that every day. Anyone going to pay $4,500 to see Springsteen in concert?
No.
I don't care if he is born in the USA.
I'm not paying $1,500 to see Ric Flair either. But that's me.
And I'm glad people would. I'm glad.
Not me.
Well, at some point in time, like it or not, we reached that age. Just saying. Thanks and agree, Rodney. Todd Vanderpool, absolutely. I saw David Allen Cole in a dive bar in Florida. Was he the same David Allen Cole he was years ago? No, but I saw him play, and that was enough. And I don't think that is the truth. Some people just, now Dolly Parton, I believe, will still be alive 200 years from now, and she'll still be looking the same.
She don't even have to sing. All she's got to do is walk out.
Rick went out of his way to see Brady do the same. We talked about Taker from Glen Allen Shelton. Mick Foley was having a blast, they said. Kevin Penley. DDP was there too. Yeah, I saw the video of him coming. I guess he gave the diamond cutter.
Yeah, he came in the ring in one of the matches. Yeah,
good deal. Kevin Penley, who did you wrestle in your last match, Jack?
Gosh, I can't remember the kid's name. I had helped train him. He was 20 years old. I was 50, and I intended to do everything I could possibly do because I knew it was my last match. And it took 3 referees to get him back to the ring when it was over with because I blew him up so bad he couldn't move.
Rick Brooks, he should have done it about 20 years ago. I understand what he said. We understand what you're saying. Love this podcast. Victor Nash, thank you so much. Michael Marr, Mike Jackson is still wrestling, and look at hey, yes.
Oh, I misread that.
Hey, Mike Jackson's kind of close to Ric Flair. He's done the same moves for 40 years.
Well, I thought he says and he looks his age.
Mike.
Sorry about that.
Gotta give him all the credit in the world, man. He's been out there and he's done it.
I especially liked when he was walking the ropes. That was fantastic.
Mike is that anomaly, though. Most guys, when they reach that age, are not going to be able to perform. But Mike's still out there, man. He's good.
Yeah, perfect ending for the man from Jason Bales. Woo! From Victor Nash. Let's see. Great Scott's Art Studio. Hey, if you need some good designs, he does tremendous designs. He did one for Bob Armstrong. The bullet. I never did get that over to Brian because he never even acted like I even sent him anything. Like I never spoke to him. Like I was somebody that he'd ever met in his life. And all the Armstrongs are doing that. So I don't know. Maybe we did something to them somewhere down the line and they're mad at us. I'm not for sure. Never been Rick fan. But as a wrestling fan, you got to respect the fact that the man got into the ring, put it on the show, and did what he spent a lifetime doing. God bless him. And it's always good to see those legends get back to the ring and do their thing. And I think that's what we need to look at it. When we're looking at this, we don't need to look at a match. We need to look at Ric Flair entertained us for years, and he wanted to do it one more time. I think that's what we need to look at it. He wanted to do it one more time, and I think we have to all respect him in that.
Well, there's still a great sense of nostalgia in the business with the fans. WWE still does high ratings every year when they do their Legends Night. And most of those, don't even get in the ring. You might have one or two that's still able to get in there and do a little something. They do that. But people just want to see them.
Yeah. Daniel Lang, thank you so much. 99 stars. Thank you so much. We certainly do appreciate it. We appreciate everybody that gives us stars. We certainly do. And it's a new thing that Facebook allows us to do is to be able to send stars. If you enjoy what we're doing, send us some stars. You can do it at any time, and we certainly do appreciate it. It all goes to doing what we do, and we want to do more, and we certainly do appreciate it. Charles Bellflower, number 16, Johnny and Jimmy Valiant. Victor Nash doing a lot of woo wings. Woo wings. We'll have to find out more about the woo wings and publicize it here and let people know where they can go get some woo wings. Because I bet they're going to be good. Because I'm thinking Conrad knows some good wings. I believe he knows the wings. I know of people that love their job and will still do it part-time after they retire. I'm going to be honest. There's no way I would do printing after I retire. There was just just something I enjoyed doing. Really, it was just a way to make a living. Well, I'm trying to push on this, and it's not going through. 16, the Midnight Express. Richard Hood, the Midnight Express. I'm
And you know
thinking,
what version? What version, Mr. Richard?
yeah, what version are we talking about? Number 19 from Christopher. My number 19 is the Crusher and the Bruiser. Yes. Truly big stars. Truly some of the biggest stars, especially in Minnesota and that area. Number 16, I don't ever think about this, but Ric Flair and Greg Valentine. Tremendous tag team. They are tremendous. Gregory said, no more Ric Flair matches. Ric Flair is smart enough to know that he's never going to have the.
I think with the mind that Flair has, there's no reason why he can't help put matches together. There certain should not be. A person with that kind of experience should be able to help people, no doubt.
Tony Anthony and Jerry Stubbs. Oh man,
yes,
great matches with the Nightmares. Some of the best tag team matches that I ever seen. People talk about Rick. They talk about the Midnight Express and Rock and Roll Express. But man, Tony Anthony and Jerry Stubbs against the Nightmares were some of the best matches. They had Nightmare Cage matches that were so good. Christopher Hughes, thank you for the 200 stars. We certainly do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the deal. Number 16, Toro Tanaka and Mr. Fuji. Kevin Penley.
Another one.
Yeah, they were another great tag team. They truly were. WWE forever, Gregory. And listen, we may not always like what's going on in the WWE, but still, they are still the best at what they do. And you can say whatever you want to, they're still the best at what they do.
I wish they would work a little bit on their commentary. Their commentary still, sorry.
Let's get this real quick. Woo Wings is available in Huntsville, Tuscaloosa. They're opening soon in Nashville and San Antonio. They're already available in those areas for Uber Eats.
There you go. All right. So, when they get to get to our area, we'll have to have some Woo Wings. Number 16, the Midnights.
Multiple midnights. The multiple midnights, all of them.
My number one team all time are the Midnight Express. All right. That's from Christopher Hughes. Agreed, the product has suffered, but it is the standard for everyone else. Michael Trevino, aka Big Bear Calhoun. Michael Trevino. Yes, they are. They are. For people who say they don't like WWE, they certainly do copy it a lot. So if Tony Khan wants to be different, don't copy the WWE. Looks like I'm a hill tonight, Rick. We already said no. Usually it's Rodney. So Rick, sometimes you have to turn.
I'm not sure what you're trying to say. No. Think about it though, Rick. If you would ever went with us down the road, we'd be cussing each other and everything else going down the road, talking how stupid we are. And then as we were saying, do you want to get off here and get something to eat? Well, sure.
The trips down the road, it was not always rosy.
Yeah, Dad would slam the brakes on, slam everybody's head up against the back of the seat or to the dash.
That's in our private chats we're going to have on here. Some of my experiences of riding with great Ronnie West. There's a particular great one about a homeless woman standing on the side of the street somewhere in South Carolina. Still have nightmares about.
Number 16, Ric Flair and Arn Anderson. Great tag team. Both worked great together. Vince and AEW, LOL, Monty Huster.
Oh, he's dreaming right now. I'm not going to say what Tony had when I mentioned that. If he's listening in, he thought, yeah. Let's just say he's out smoking a cigarette now.
Was that Mad Dog Vashon barking in the background?
No, somebody must have burped about 6 blocks over because my dog loses her mind just out of the blue.
How many here, if they could wrestle one last time and had the energy of fans behind yourself, would go back and wrestle? I think everybody would.
I would.
Sure.
I definitely
Absolutely.
would. And I have been asked. I mean, I still get promoters occasionally that'll call me up, want to know, hey, would you want to come do one last match? Well, yeah, I do. I can't because I would be a total embarrassment. And honestly, my ego is big enough that I wouldn't want to embarrass myself.
Doug Masters is with us. Doug still does his podcast. Jack, do you know?
I believe so. I know he was changing formats or carriers.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan rung the bell today. His last chemo.
Yep.
And,
All right.
if you not went there, support Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I think it's Hacksaw Jim Duggan at Facebook. I believe you just put Hacksaw Jim Duggan and it'll go there. Go over there and go to his page. He has a lot of videos and stuff on there. Go over there and support him. He's went through a lot in the last 6 to 8 weeks. Support. So go over there and support Jim Duggan. Great man.
Yes.
Just a tremendous person. Never thought he was better than anyone else. Always a tremendous man. So get over there and help him in any way you can. But I think by watching his Facebook page, probably he probably gets paid for it. So just anything you can do to help Jim Duggan, that would be great. To kind of show him that you appreciate what he did in professional wrestling for you. Number eight, the Killer Bees. Brian Blair and Jim Brunzell. No, not on my list. Hey, you know what? They were a good tag team. They were good, but they did they ever really connect with the fans, or was it not their fault? Were they not allowed?
I don't
It was
think
totally
Vince,
Brian Blair's fault.
I don't think Vince ever positioned them as a top tag team. They were
He never
fillers.
really pushed the team. He never really.
No,
did.
he never liked tag team wrestling.
No, and you have to admit the thing with the mask and the mask confusion was great. That was really good stuff.
Glenn Allen for US, Lawler Drew, Valiant Drew, yes.
That's for us. That's for us, Lawler. That was for us, not for US.
Oh, sorry. Hey, I've been up since 2:30. So
yes, you have.
if you could book Flair sign
Autographs, yeah.
yeah.
Autograph signing parties, yeah, for Flair.
Wendy Harkins, your dad was very passionate for wrestling, and that's why he was so good at his job. Thank you so much. How old was Lou Thez when he had a last match? He was supposed to have his last match in 1979.
74. And I just got through reading his book a week or two ago, and he talks about that match and how he said, I was foolish for taking the match. He said, I just thought I could do it. And then they got in there and his hip blew out on him. And he just was not able to have any kind of offense whatsoever. He just basically let the guy job him. You know,
well, he actually had in 1979, I think it was 1979, 1970. He had a match with Crazy Lou Graham, and it was supposed to be his final match in the Omni. I've got that somewhere. So he's probably had a lot of last matches in his time. If they could draw a house with it, they were going to do it. Christopher Hughes, Dory Funk Jr. is older than Rick, I believe, and he still wrestles. Very, very slow, but he wrestles, and I consider it an honor to watch him today. I did the first time I watched him person, first time in 1976. If people don't want to watch them, excuse me.
Well, Christopher, Dory Funk Jr. was always slow.
He really was.
I mean, he always.
I think they called it methodical, but slow.
Exactly right. I mean, but back then, remember the World Championship matches were very, very. They're very careful because of the importance of the match. There was really no frills in that match. So
I
they took their
noticed,
time and they didn't want to make any mistakes. And I really give legitimacy to the match.
I will try to get some info. I got tagged in a post earlier today that Dory Funk Jr. has a new book that's just coming out.
Right.
So I'll try to have info on that for us next week as well.
Christopher Hughes said these words: "If people don't want to watch them, then don't pay to watch it or don't tune in. I do it every week to WWE and AEW. It's easy." You make some good points. You make some good.
Hey, before we get off of here, let's talk real quick about SummerSlam.
Okay.
Did y'all see the highlight of a lifetime with Brock Lesnar?
Where he turned the ring over?
Yes. And I'm telling you, I sitting at home, I'm thinking, this is great. But if I were on that corner in the front row or the 10th row in that corner, I would be pretty dang mad because you could not see anything. You've got a ring that's, 12, 15 foot in the air, and, you're not going to be able to see nothing around it. I thought it was both, it was great comedy effect on a show that really didn't have much as far as comedy. And that's one thing I want to point out about the changes that they're talking about Triple H making is, he's cut back drastically on the comedy. I haven't seen the 24/7 championship since he took over. I don't know that you probably will, but, everything's being presented in a more serious manner. He's starting to push people that he pushed in NXT. Tommaso Ciampa got a big win last night. Going to be facing Lashley for the U.S. Championship. And they did a whole vignette about building up the importance of the U.S. title.
That was what I was going to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. They're making these secondary belts important again, which should have always been. He brought in that new faction at SummerSlam with Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai, which I always liked Dakota Kai. And that was a faction he had been pushing for a while, and Vince just said no. He was not interested. He fired Dakota Kai, and Io Sky was on the fence. She basically told him her contract was about up. She was not going to renew if they didn't do something and bring her to the main roster. So obviously he pulled the trigger, brought them together. They got a tremendous response last night when they came out and did the things they did on Raw. Becky Lynch got hurt. She's going to be out for a little while. It was just an accident. She got planted really pretty early in the match. But man, that shows you how tough she is. Pulled her arm back into socket, shoulder back into socket, and continued that match and had a heck of a match. And here's the last thing I wanted to touch on is they said one of the biggest changes is he's pulling back from the matches being pre-called quite as much as what they always have been. Not just the matches, but the interviews too. They're giving them the synopsis of basically what they're looking for, but they're giving them the freedom to have both the matches and do the promos, interviews the way they feel fits them better.
That's a good idea.
I think what you were talking about, the U.S. title, I believe what this means is that the U.S. title and the Intercontinental titles on SmackDown will become the predominant belts on those two brands, with the WWE / Universal Champion being and the Tag Team Champions being one. So I think that and that's exactly what we've talked about on this program from day one.
And that's what worked years ago.
Yeah.
Make your world champion, but your world champion don't wrestle on every show. He's not even on every show.
That's right.
And I think that was the way. Now, I don't know whether that was Vince's idea or whether somebody had gotten his ear enough to push Roman in the way he was pushed. But I think Roman Reigns has been pushed the right way. The only thing I would change is just get one belt, guys. Quit having him have to holler.
I think that's coming. I think that's coming. I think that's coming. I think both of them. I think that's coming. They're going to ease into it. I think.
Michael Barr. Well, we're running out of time, so I'm gonna go through just a couple of the people. Michael Barr. Okay, Jack. Just remember, you're going to want more cigars in later shows.
Always.
Michael Barr also said, Brent Rodney, I'm a self-trained man.
All
Jeff,
right.
again, thank you for the stars. We appreciate. Are they really ever retired? No.
That's
Money
right.
Well, that's your box.
You're exactly right.
Yes, and I'm just going to go through and grab some people on here that Rick Brooks said glad no show show for your Brent. Yes, it was very good. Michael Barr, you ain't right, Jack. You ain't right, bro. Let's see. B Dice, a new person. I don't think they've been on here with us before. Why they want Roman over Brock is crazy.
Well, think about this, B. How did Roman go over? Look how many people it took to beat him. So it did not harm Brock. They'll be ready for the next match. Obviously, the next round would be Brock getting a partner going against the Usos. That would probably be the next thing going.
They have already advertised Brock for January 1st. That new pay-per-view they're doing on January the 1st every year now, called New Day. So he's going to be gone a while, but he's coming back.
Jeff Dobbs said Las Vegas tours calling for Ric Flair. Woo, woo, woo. Zack Ryder is coming.
I was reading comments on one of the person that said that if they don't strip Roman Reigns and the Usos of the belt, I'm not watching it anymore. How many times did we hear that? If somebody got heat with you and I'm not ever coming back until I see my people win, I'm not coming back. And then they'd be right back there the very next week.
Joel French, if he had another match next week, we're talking about Ric Flair, who would pack the house again. From Joel French. Christopher Hughes will hit you right there. I'm going to see Alabama concert in November in St. Augustine. It cost me $300 for 2 center tickets, and I didn't want to pay that, much less that much. And we're talking about the $1,000 to go see Ric Flair.
I saw Teddy for free about 2 years ago. So
Glenn Allen Shelton said Star Party. What, Glenn? What is a Star Party? Is that something? Does that have something to do with the stars we're getting? For sure. Maybe somebody can explain this to us. Is that something we're supposed to be doing? We do good to get on sometimes. There today. Let's see. Richard Hood, Dennis Condrey, and Bobby.
Dennis Condrey, Bobby. Talking about.
Michael Barr said Walter McDaniel and Jerry Stubbs, they teamed with each other.
Gosh, I don't.
That's his number 16. We'll say yes.
Number 16, Wahoo. The Silver Inferno will return, Michael Barr says.
That's him. Determined Michael Barr is the Silver Inferno.
That's right. Was David Flair there, Jack?
I did not see him, but I never thought about looking for him either. And I'm sure he's changed so much from back in the day.
What in the world is he laughing about?
He said, but David Flair, I don't know if he was there. I wasn't looking for him anyway. So thing of the matter is nobody else was either. So
I think he's actually close to retirement as a state trooper, I believe.
Bishop Nesby said, give Triple H credit. I believe that he's trying to take wrestling back to old school.
I don't know that it's possible to go back, but I think he's going to bring in a lot of those basic principles. Storytelling, and we have preached this since we started this podcast, because we used to preach it to ourselves before we ever got y'all to listen to us. Right. It's all about storytelling. Getting people involved in your characters. What's the Jonathan Grisham that just had the big blow up at Tony Khan because they took the belt off of him, and he made this statement about he didn't understand why a wrestler couldn't just be good in the ring. Why did he have to have this amount of charisma? Well, if you don't get it now, that people attach themselves to characters and that personality. That's what they're paying for. It's not how many spots you do, Jonathan. Because I saw him the other night. He was great. Can I tell you a thing about what he did? No, I've already forgot it. I remember him winning the match, and that's as far as I can tell you. He impressed me enough to remember it. No, he didn't do that. I would not ever buy a ticket to watch him wrestle. Nothing against his ability, but there's nothing there for me to invest in.
Remember, Jack bought the pay-per-view to see Ric Flair.
I did.
So he invested into Ric Flair because he would do that. Glenn Allen Shelton said a star party is you go run for 5 minutes, you get as many until you achieve your goal. Glenn, we may have to hire old Glenn to be our. I didn't even know you could do that.
Star party consultant.
Yeah, star party consultant. Yes,
hey, Jack. Did you notice something about Raw? Did you notice something new, something different? There's nobody in suits out there making the saves anymore. Did you notice that?
I did.
The wrestlers are actually going in and what are they doing when they get to the ring? Scoot. I saw that right off the bat.
I know we talk about their announce team, but I'm going to tell you for SmackDown the other night, Michael Cole was the best I have ever heard him. And you could tell that he was out there doing what Michael Cole wanted to do. He didn't have anybody in his ear yelling at him, telling him word for word what was to be said. And he said some stuff the other night that was so good, so spot on, and he never once said vintage anything.
Tell it, Jack, from Charles Alford. I want to thank everybody for being a part of Pro Wrestling Inside Now.
We get this one.
We grew the podcast is one of the best. Hope it continues to grow and get better. It is, and we're going to, and we we need your help for us to grow. And so whatever you can do, stars or whatever, be a subscriber.
Stars, share it on Facebook for us on any of your social media platforms. Share that. Don't forget our ProWrestlingTees.com. Look us up, Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. Go to our Facebook page. You have the link for, is it Teespring? I think it is.
Yep, Teespring.
And get your official Jack Lord shirt.
That's right.
I burned a hole in mine when I dropped the cigar last year, so I got to buy another. Right in my forehead too.
What?
Well, we certainly do appreciate everyone, and we grew 1,000 new followers, insiders on our Facebook page this week alone, and we certainly do appreciate everybody who is sharing our page, talking about our page. We certainly do agree. We would like to see us get to about 60,000 followers on our Facebook by the end of the year. So help us out all you can. Let people know about it. Let them know about the YouTube channel as well. So we certainly do appreciate it. Thanks all. Great one tonight. Jack, anything you want to talk about before we leave?
Nope. Humpty Dumpty is through.
Oh, we'll tell you about that too, folks. If you're a subscriber, we'll tell you about that as well. And when we finally get together and get those private talks,
just don't get on my bad side, and I won't say things that hurt your feelings, and then you have to go complain to Brent.
Rod, anything you want to talk about before we leave?
Yeah, Tony Khan, Vince told me to tell you, stop calling.
Thank you all so much. We'll see everybody next week, right here on Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. A lot of things, and we'll talk about whatever's going on as far as the top tag teams, and we don't know what's going to happen in between now and then. There's no telling what we're going to talk about, because I was really not going to talk about the Ric Flair match, but people were losing their minds over it. So I thought we'd talk about tonight. Thank y'all so much. We'll see everybody next week right here on Pro Wrestling Inside Now.